video, I am doing a mid-year book tag. The best book you've read so far in 2025. Character you relate to the most right now. Hey guys, it's Emma. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing a mid-year book tag. I do this almost every year. I think I've done it for the past 2 years. So this might be my third year doing it. I'm not completely sure. That might be a lie. This might be my second year doing it. I'm not really sure. But I have read a good amount of books this year. And I've read some great books. I've read some bad books. I've read some mid books. And we're here to talk about them. We're going to answer 20 plus questions, or I'm gonna answer 20 plus questions about all the books I've read, and I'm gonna give you guys answers. I tried to include most of the books, but I had to be honest and repeat some for most of the questions. A lot of the books I've read aren't going to be mentioned, but soon I'm doing a wrap up for the past 3 months because if you haven't noticed, I haven't been doing monthly wrap ups just because I was in a slump for a while, so I didn't want to do a wrap up and there's only 3 books in the wrap up. But I have been slowly getting into the groove of reading again, so I'm going to start those again after this month. So in July, at the end of July, you guys will get a monthly wrap up. But soon I will be doing a wrap up for April, May, and June. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to see the other books I've read this year, I do have wrap ups for the beginning months. Yeah, but we're going to start with this video because we do have a lot of questions. This is going to be a very chill video. Grab snacks, put me on the background or something. So let's get started. The first question is the best book you've read so far in 2025. Plain and simple question. And for this one, I have 2 books. I haven't gotten a 5-star this year. And honestly, I posted a TikTok about how I don't know how people are finding 5 stars in 1 month. It's crazy to me. And I'm a little bit jealous. I just don't know why I'm not getting that 5-star feeling. But I have rated books 4.5 stars, and those have been my best books this year. But my top 2 is going to be The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. Jessa Hastings books are usually my best books of the year, so I'm not shocked that this is one of my favorites this year. This book is about Georgia. She lives in Europe, she lives in the UK, and she has to come back because her dad passed away. And she doesn't have the best relationship with her family, everyone besides her gay older brother. And that's the only person she really gets along with. So when she gets back and she has to deal with her family again, she just hates it. But then she meets her brother's AA sponsor, and she kind of she's attracted to him, and she grows a crush on him, and you see their relationship develop. But I love how in Jessa Hastings books, it's never only about the relationships. You get a lot of the family aspect, and I love that in this book. I think my favorite part was how cool Georgia was able to read everyone's emotions and why they were doing the things they were doing, because she studies psychology and she's basically able to read anyone's face and know what they're thinking. And that was so cool because in this book we are in her point of view, so seeing all of her thoughts and knowing what everyone was thinking was such a cool aspect. So yeah, I really liked this book. And the other book is Killer Instinct. This is the second book in the Natural series. This one was my absolute favorite. I think it's just because we get to see them be actual friends and grow a close relationship in this book, and I think that's definitely why it is my favorite. The whole series is so good. It's a bunch of these kids who have these natural abilities. One of them is able to know when someone's lying. The other one is able to know statistics and numbers. There's 2 of them that I'm forgetting. Wait. One of them is able to read emotions, and the other 2 are able to know what someone's actions are next. Basically, knowing what they've done before or what they're saying, they know what's gonna happen next. The natural abilities is what makes these 2 my favorite, but I just think their stories were so interesting. But especially in this book, you get to see them grow a closer bond and kind of just settle in the fact that they are unique and they're different than other people they meet, and they have each other, and they just grow so much closer in this book. You see them be actual teenagers in this book too, I feel like. And yeah, this one was definitely my favorite in the series. Next question is the worst book I've read this year. This one is hard because I feel like I haven't read a book that I'm like, I hated it. But there are some books that I was like, I kind of wasted my time reading this. And the one book for this is The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. And I am actually so sad about this one because I have liked, honestly, majority of Elle Kennedy's books. I feel like this is the only one that I did not like at all. I don't know if it's because it was a little different. The girl main character, she goes to college at BriarU and she has these two guys. One is a hockey player, or no, they're both hockey players. One is Australian, one is, I don't know, from the US, I guess. But they both want her, and these two guys basically sleep with the same girls, but they're not into each other. They just sleep with the same girls, if that makes sense. There's a word for it. I just can't remember right now. You see this girl kind of being conflicted, like, is this right? This feels wrong to do. Like, is this even normal? And the guys are basically used to it because they've been doing it for such a long time. They're like, this is a normal thing. Like, it's fine. And I don't know, I just feel like the female main character was really annoying. She just kept, I don't know if it was like playing victim, but I just didn't like how she was acting throughout the whole book. It was just very annoying and hard to deal with, especially because these books in this series, they are like 500, 600 pages long. So literally for majority of the book, it's just her being annoying, and I couldn't deal with it. When I was getting towards the end of the book, I was just speed like reading, like skimming through it because I couldn't read it anymore. But the two male main characters, they were fine. And I also don't know if I didn't love the book just because of the dynamic. It's a very different genre for me. Like, I've never read a book like that. I feel like that's not even what bothered me. It was just how the female main character was acting with them and not giving them clear signals and being, like, giving them mixed signals. It was just really annoying to read about. But yeah, I wouldn't say I hated it. I just, like, was getting so frustrated with the book that I was just like, I feel like we're going back and forth and I'm just wasting my time here. I think that's my worst book. It wasn't terrible, but it's just, I feel like it was just a waste of time. Next question is most surprising book in a good way and a bad way. First, we're gonna start in a good way. This book, Out on a Limb, was so surprising for me. I know I had heard great things about it. Everyone was rating it 4.5, 4 stars, 5 stars. So I was like, okay, there's something about this book that people love and I really wanted to read it. I was just iffy going into it because it looked like a simple, cute romance book, nothing crazy. But when I started reading it, I realized the deeper meaning in the book and how strong their connection was. I just fell in love with this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really, really liked it. It makes me want to go back and read her other books in like her series before this one, and I want to read the next book in this series, Out of the Woods, I think it is, because I just loved this book so much and it was so surprising. I guess because I didn't know if I was gonna like it. I knew other people loved it, but I just was iffy about how I was gonna feel about it, and I loved it. So that was very surprising for me. But the surprising book in a bad way is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I have loved every single book Emily Henry has written, and reading this one, I just wasn't loving it. I guess it kind of did feel like Emily Henry writing, but I was not connected to anything in the story. In this book, you get Alice and Hayden. They're both writers that want a position to write about this famous person's story and their life. So Margaret is this, you know, famous lady, and she tells them both, I'm going to talk to both of you guys for a few weeks and then I'm going to decide who I want to write the full story. You just follow that. You follow them so you get her story a lot of the time and what her family kind of went through. And then you get Alice and Hayden's romance that they're building up that they don't want to get into, obviously, because they're competing for the same position. But I don't know, I just wasn't connected to Margaret's story. I thought it was really boring, honestly, and irrelevant. I just wasn't understanding why it was so important that she wanted to write a whole, like, novel book about. And Alice and Hayden, I did like the little parts that they had, like when he would like rub his knee against her knee, or like when they would hug, like it was very cute. But I feel like we didn't get anything, and I just wasn't connected to them. I didn't feel the connection. So that's why I was so surprised, because I was like, this is an Emily Henry book. I have loved every single Emily Henry book, and I'm scared to say it, but I think this might be my least favorite. And it's just so sad because I had such high hopes. Obviously, anytime an Emily Henry book comes out, I'm so excited for it. So this was just a letdown, unfortunately. Next question is a book you DNF'd or wish you had. There are some books that I wish I had DNF'd, but I don't feel like answering that question because it's like, I already read it. What's the point in saying like I wish I would have DNF'd it? But I do have 2 books that I DNF'd this year. One I had the physical copy of, but I gave it to a little book library because I was like, I don't want this on my shelf. And that was Full Measures by Rebecca Yarros. This was about a girl that she was an army brat, and she gets the news that her dad has passed away. I actually can't even remember what it's about. I don't even remember why I DNF'd this. Let me try and find like my thoughts on the book and why I DNF'd it. Oh, she has a boyfriend, and he's like a shitty boyfriend. When she finds out her dad passes away, like he doesn't comfort her at all, and then we find out something that he did, and it's like not even shocking. And then she sees this guy that she knew from high school that she always had a crush on, and he is her little brother's soccer coach, so they kind of see each other a lot. He's noticed what's happened, obviously, because he coaches her brother, and he's kind of there for her. I just think some of the quotes that they were saying in the book was a bit crazy for it to only be not even that much through the book. At 20%, I don't know who was saying this, but the quote is, I want you more than oxygen. At 20%. And I was like, you guys haven't seen each other in I don't know how long. What do you mean you need each other more than oxygen? I was just so thrown off, and I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna be for me. And then the other book was Becoming Selfish. This is by Liz Tomford. And if you guys don't know, I love Liz Tomford. I'm currently reading Rewind It Back, and I love the Windy City series so much. Every single book of that series is amazing. So I've heard good things about the other 2 books she wrote that are about some of the like pro sports players in the books, like their stories before when they met in high school. So I was like, I'm gonna read this. I just thought the guy was so rude. The way he was acting, I was just like, no, I can't read any more of this character. My whole thoughts, we're gonna just read through it. It's gonna be messy because I just like type and not even know what I'm saying. So it says, 15% through and probably 4 days of knowing each other, she said she'd do anything for him. This guy goes from being so caring and concerned to being a complete ass. I feel like I'm getting whiplash. I don't like how he handles every situation he's in. She's already fallen 37% through, and after everything he's done, yeah, no. And that's when I knew I was DNFing. It was just stuff that he was doing, the way he was reacting to things, and she was just not caring for all of it and just falling for him. I think he was like this big like player, and she was kind of like nerdy or something like that. Yeah, no, I just couldn't read that anymore. Next question is most disappointing book of the year. For this one, I have 2. The first one is If Only I Had Told Her. I already had a feeling that I wasn't going to enjoy it just because of everything I had heard. People were saying that this book wasn't really needed after the first one, which was If He Had Been With Me. And that book, you know from the start of the book what is going to happen, and then you kind of follow along their romance, their connection, how close they are, and then you see what happens at the end of the book. This book is kind of just a very long epilogue book, and what's going on after. You follow Finn's best friend, and you follow Autumn again, and you see a little bit of Finn's point of view too, which I think that was the only part of the book that I liked. I really liked seeing Finn's point of view because I'm pretty sure in the other book we only got Autumn's. I'm not sure, that could be a lie, but I feel like in this book, seeing Finn's point of view, I loved it so much. But then we got to his best friend's point of view and Autumn's, and it just felt unnecessary getting their point of views. Like, it was nice to see, and nice to see like how they were grieving him. It would make more sense if Jack specifically was a more prominent character, and if he had been with me and we needed his point of view, but we didn't. Like, it was nice to get, but we didn't really need his point of view, if that makes sense. I was just disappointed like why this book was even a thing. That's my thoughts on that. The next one is Wild Side by Elsie Silver. If you know me, I love Elsie Silver. I have rated 2 of her books 5 stars. I love her cowboy romances a lot. And this was the lowest rated book, I believe, that I've read from her. And I just feel like this book, I was cringing a lot of the time. Usually in Elsie Silver, I don't cringe a lot. She makes me giggle, like when she tells the characters like what to say, obviously. I do giggle a lot, but in this book, I was cringing most of the time. When you cringe at a book, you already know you're not gonna love it. I also do think that this character, Reese, wasn't up my alley. I don't love the characters that are kind of more grumpy in a sense, and that's kind of how he was, so I just didn't enjoy that. I did like Tabitha. I think she had a really fun personality. She was very fiery, and I loved that, but yeah, I just think I was disappointed with how I felt about the book. I guess it's not really the book itself, it's just how I felt about it. So yeah. Next question is favorite new character. We're gonna start with a book I've already said, which is Georgia. Like I said, I thought it was so cool how she was able to just read everyone and know exactly how they were feeling, what they were thinking. It was just so cool to read about, especially being in her point of view. So she is definitely a favorite new character for me. The next books I'm gonna talk about are the Addicted series. I love every single character in this book, specifically Connor and Rose, Reich and Daisy. I read obviously their books for the first time this year, and it opened my eyes to them individually because the first 3 books are only Lo and Lily. Obviously you see them, you enjoy them, they're going through a hard time, but you get glimpses of the other characters and it's nice to know them until you get to their point of views and see how they feel, and it just gives them more depth, and I loved reading about them. I think they are my favorites in the series. They're definitely my new favorite characters. I am so ready to continue the series, finish it this year. I have fallen in love with the series and the characters. So this is definitely a big one. And speaking of that series, the next question is a book that made you cry. And for this one, I'm saying Thrive. This is the latest Addicted book that I have read. This is in Lo and Lily's point of view. I feel like in this book, you get a lot of the relationships with each other. So you get Lo and Lily, of course. You get Lo and Reich, which is his brother. You get Lo and Rose. I loved reading about it, especially Lo and Reich. Seeing them grow a more brotherly relationship was so nice to see, and it honestly made me cry, especially when you have already, the last book was Reich and Daisy, and in Reich's book you get to see how he thinks about Lo, and it's so like heartwarming because Lo doesn't know this, but we know how Reich feels and how much he cares for Lo, and then you get to Lo's point of view and he just doesn't see it at all until Reich talks to him more and shows him. And it's just so refreshing, and I did cry. I have a reading vlog reading this. I think it's the last video that came out, but I was crying reading this. It was just so nice to read about. The next question is a book that made you feel good / laugh. And for this one, it's kind of random, but I'm saying Beg, Borrow, or Steal. I think Sarah Adams' books are so cute. They're short and sweet, but I feel like specifically this one, the 2 characters, their romance was amazing. I was giggling and kicking my feet in bed. I thought the male main character was so funny, and the way he wanted the female main character so bad was so good to read about. I love reading about a male main character that wants the female main character extremely bad. That's just what he was. He has had a crush on her for a very long time, and you see them have these back and forth like jokes with each other, and I love seeing it. It was just so fun to read about. Again, I feel like Sarah Adams' books are just lighthearted, fun reads. There's nothing too deep going on in them, but yeah, I love her books, and I can't wait for the next and final book in this series to come out because I know it's gonna be good because we already know who it's gonna be about. So very excited for that. Next question is a book that felt like a hug. This one I'm answering out on a limb again, just because the romance in this book was so sweet. We obviously get a lot of the pregnancy that happens in this book, and this isn't a spoiler, that's what the whole book is about. It's the pregnancy trope, accidental pregnancy. It happens like at the first chapter. A lot of the book you follow along what she's going through in this pregnancy and how they're trying to kind of co-parent and come to the decision that they don't want to have an awkward relationship for this child. But then you see them grow a connection, and he is just the definition of a golden retriever, specifically a puppy. Like when I think of him, I just think of a little puppy golden retriever. He is the sweetest, cutest character I've ever read, and I can promise that. So it just felt like so nice to read about. The next book I am saying is Part of Your World. This one is kind of random. I didn't expect to love this book. I gave this book 4 stars, so I didn't like, it wasn't my favorite book, but out of Abby Jimenez's books, this is definitely like top 3. I love this book so much. It's about a guy that he lives in a small town, and the girl lives in the city. She's a doctor, and she has this legacy to hold up. She almost runs into a raccoon in the small town, so this guy helps her, and as soon as he sees her, he's like, this woman is beautiful, and I'm kind of determined to see her again. So you follow his point of view and how much he's into her and how he's determined to have her stay with him. And I just feel like books like that, when the guys are just so down bad and determined to have the female main character stay with them, it's just so nice to read about. So I loved this one. We are only halfway through. I need to start answering quicker. Next question is a book that felt like a punch in the gut in a good way. This one I am answering Hot House Flower. This one is about Reich and Daisy. I'm saying this book specifically because there is so much drama in this book, I feel like, and you see Daisy go through a lot. She's the youngest sister. It gets explained how she holds in a lot of her feelings because she doesn't want all the attention on her, and she knows they're already worried for her, so she doesn't want to make it any worse. And you see what she's really going through and how Reich is helping her with that. And then you see everything that's happening with Reich and Lo, and it's just so much going on that it just feels like it's never ending. Like I'm literally just getting punched in the gut multiple times. So yeah, that's why this one is definitely the pick for this question. Next question is a new release that I haven't read yet. This one, I don't know if this counts, but I'm currently reading Rewind It Back. I'm literally about to finish it. I only have like 10% left and I'm loving it so far. I can't believe this is the last book in the series, but I don't know if that counts. But I have another book, which is Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. I have read every single Stephanie Archer book. I've loved the majority of them. I'm really scared about this one because this one is enemies to lovers and I don't love enemies to lovers, but we'll see because it's Stephanie Archer and I love her, so we'll see how this goes. Next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have 3 books for this because there are so many new releases. I had to pick a few, and number 1 is Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings. She announced this recently and I can't believe we're getting 2 Jessa Hastings releases in 1 year. That's insane. But this book is about a 90s summer. The male main character is in a famous boy band and the female main character is like the face of the generation. So I am so excited. It sounds like it's gonna be so good and I just can't wait for it, obviously because it's Jessa Hastings. The next book is Wild Card. So it's the next book in the Rose Hill series after this one. This is, I think, ex-boyfriend's dad trope, which is insane. I've never read a book like that, so I'm hoping it's good. It's definitely obviously going to be age gap, so we'll see how that comes out. And the final book for this question is Love Arranged. That is the next book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. I have not read this book yet, but I did read Love Redesigned, and I liked that book. It was really cute, but I'm really excited to read this one. I'm going to read it very soon because this book takes place in Hawaii, so I obviously want to read it during the summertime, and I'm really excited about this book, and obviously really excited about the next book because I love Lauren Asher, so those are my anticipated releases for the next half of the year. Next question is a reread I did or want to do. I did reread one book this year, and that was Magnolia Parks, my all-time favorite book. And the reason why I reread this book is because I was in a slump and I just wanted to feel that 5-star feeling again, and I definitely did reading this book. I was able to go back, tab my favorite parts of the book, and it was just so nice to go back and be reminded that this book is amazing and nothing is going to compare to it, unfortunately. But a book that I want to reread this year is Happy Place by Emily Henry. Like I said, I was a little bit disappointed with her release this year, and it's been a while since I read this book. I remember reading this book and giving it like 4.75 stars, so I think if I reread it, I would give it 5 stars because the same thing happened to me with Beach Read when I read it. The first time I gave it like 4 stars, 4.5, and then when I read it the second time, I was like, no, this is a 5-star. It's so good, and I feel like I might feel the same about Happy Place. It's a second chance romance, big friend group. They go to Maine every summer, and there's a wedding in this book, an engagement. I think this is going to be so fun to read, especially in the summertime, so definitely want to reread this soon. Next question is a book that was on my TBR forever and I finally read, and this one is Forever Never by Lucy Score. This one I bought randomly at Target once just because I heard good things about it. I obviously knew who Lucy Score was, and I read the back and it sounded good. The top says, you don't fall for your brother's high school sweetheart, your boss's daughter, or your ex-wife's best friend, especially when they're all the same woman. Just by that, I was like, I'm hooked. I'm getting this book. But I actually did not enjoy this book at all. I thought the male main character was realistic in the way that I'm sure every woman has dealt with a man like this, and it was just pissing me off as if I was the female main character. You could just tell when she wanted him. He wanted to be like hard to get and like push her away, but then all of a sudden when she didn't want him, he was like, no, like come back, like kind of running up to her, and it was like a cat and mouse situation, and I just hated it. I just wasn't for this book, but I was happy I got it off my TBR. Next question is character you relate to the most right now, and this one I'm not gonna say the most, but I'm going to say Alice from One Golden Summer. I just really liked how she viewed taking pictures and photography. That was what I loved about her the most, and I connected to. Some of the quotes in this book were so beautiful when she was talking about how capturing a picture, you could go back to it and remember exactly how you felt in that moment and just remember it. She was just so interesting, and how important it was in this book, that aspect. I just loved reading about it, and obviously because I related to taking pictures, I love taking pictures. I love printing them out, putting it in my photo album, so I loved her character and was able to relate to that aspect of her. Next question is a book that taught you something or changed your perspective, and this one I'm saying Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I feel like her books always like do something in my brain, like I see things differently. This one is about a girl that she goes to the bar and she is faced with two choices: staying with her high school sweetheart or leaving with her best friend. And throughout the whole book, you follow if she went into both decisions and how her life ends up. And it was just crazy to read about that. You make these small little decisions and they could change your whole entire life, and it could change where you end up in life. And it was just crazy to read about. In the end, the quotes in the end are amazing. I read this book in my trying to find a 5-star read, so if you want to see like the quotes I read in this book, because I don't want to go on a tangent right now, but the quotes in this book were amazing and literally just changed the way I think about life. So definitely recommend this book. Next question is a book that needs to be adapted ASAP. I don't know if I'm biased, but I'm saying my best books of the year, which is The Conditions of Will and the Natural series. I just think The Conditions of Will would be so cool to see on screen, especially if there's like a voice narrator, like as Georgia, saying like, I know they're thinking this right now, I know they're about to say this, and then it happens. It's just so cool to read. Also, the drama in this book would be so cool to see on screen. So that would be amazing, but I don't think Jessica Hastings would ever make her books into live action just because I'm sure she doesn't want to ruin them. The Natural series, I think this will also be so cool to see on screen. It's obviously like kind of related to Criminal Minds, but to see teenagers doing this will be so much cooler. Also, the drama, the romance in this series is amazing. So this would be a really good adaptation. So someone get started on that. Next is favorite cover of the year so far. This one, I obviously have to give it to The Conditions of Will. It's literally beautiful. I think all of Jessica Hastings' books are so pretty. I also think Say or Remember Me is a really pretty cover, even though I didn't love this book. I do think her covers are always so bright and detailed, and I think they're just so cute. And of course, One Golden Summer. Her covers are always so beautiful, and it just gives the perfect summer vibes. Also, the inside, like them jumping off the cliff, it's so nice. And then also the back. Oh, it's so pretty. I just love her covers, always. They're always so good. Next question is best writing style or quote you loved. Not to be annoying, but I'm gonna have to say The Conditions of Will by Jessica Hastings. Jessica Hastings just knows how to write a book. I think she is the best author to ever do it. She is my favorite author. And the way she writes things, it's just like, I think to myself, how does someone think of things like this? I'm gonna try to open to a quote. Like this one, I read it in the reading vlog I did the last video, but let me see if I can find another one because I don't want to read the same quote. Okay, this quote. She says something and then it says, I tell him with this swelling feeling in my chest that's a bit like when you've been lying on the sand at the beach on an overcast day and the sun finally breaks through and the warmth of it drenches you to the bone. And it's just amazing because I know exactly how that feels. So to be able to compare that feeling to what she's writing about, it's amazing. It's just so good. So if you ever read a Jessica Hastings book, please do, because it'll change your life. And the last question for this video is reading goal for the year and how it's going. My reading goal was to read 50 books, and I have read 31 so far, so I'm a little bit ahead of my goal, which I'm very proud of. I don't know how this has happened, but it has. So my camera just ran out of storage, so I forgot what I was saying. But I haven't been forcing myself to read books. I've just been reading when I want to read, as long as I want to read. So maybe that's what's helping me. Who knows? But yeah, that is my mid-year book tag. I really hope you guys enjoyed. It was a little bit long, so I do apologize. But I had a great time answering my questions and talking about not all, but most of the books I've read this year. And I'm so excited for the next half of the year. Hopefully I find a 5-star. We'll see by the end of the year when I do a video somewhat like this. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you know when I post my next video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!